Hello everyone and welcome to another video. Don't mind the matching Where's Waldo like outfit. The hat's for I'm kind of doing something funky with my hair, and the sweater, the match wasn't intentional, but that's the way it is. Either way, let's go ahead and get right into the video. Now, I posted back on January 11th a video that was actually posing a question on what people thought about the fragrance bans and some of the new fragrance rules and regulations. And so I kind of wanted to just give you my overall thoughts on fragrance regulations. So overall, I'm kind of neutral in the matter. And the reason I'm neutral in the matter is I'll get into specifically why I'm neutral in the matter, but I'm neutral for a couple reasons. First reason, I understand that a lot of fragrances no longer smell the same, and they have to be reformulated because of certain industry rules and the governing of certain, chemicals, certain notes in fragrances. This I understand, and I don't like it. I don't like it because some of my favorite fragrances obviously have changed. One of the biggest fragrances that I guess you could say, and I'm sorry about the train noise, but one of the biggest fragrances that I guess you could say has changed from the reformulation was Le Male from the House of Jean Paul Gaultier. Now, I was fortunate enough to purchase that one a long time ago, and I did a review on it a while ago, and I noticed there were a lot of people who were coming up to me as of recent and leaving comments, sending me messages saying, hey, I know you noticed, you said Le Male was a fragrance that lasted, upwards of 20 plus hours. I only get like maybe 3 or a couple hours on it. And the first couple of ones that people sent across, I had just kind of brushed off and been like, okay, well, fragrances react differently on people's skin, and which is completely true. But then after, I would say, the 10th message saying the same thing, I was like, well, wait a second. I wonder if Le Male has changed in terms of reformulation. And I went back and revisited it in the department store, and sure enough, it was weaker than the version that I have here at home. And I was like, oh, okay, they must have reformulated it on the stealth. Now, whether or not it's because of fragrance rules or not, I don't know. That I don't know specifically, and I can't really tell you that that's the case, but I do know that it really does stink when fragrances seem to be reformulated and they're made worse. Now, an interesting question is, are there any fragrances that have been reformulated and made better? That's actually a good question, because so far I really can't think of any off the top of my head that have been reformulated and made better. There are obviously, various Creed batches that are out there, but I wouldn't really call that a reformulation. I would just really call that, just a variance in batches, a variance in the specific fragrances that are out, but not an intentional reformulation. But yeah, so I would say that disappoints me outright. Now, on the flip side, I can understand why some, I guess it'd say, notes are banned. Now, if the note, so let's cover allergies, for example. I'm not okay if a fragrance is banned because it could give some people allergies, or if people even smelling the fragrance can are allergic to it or anything like that. To me, that is more on the person themselves to kind of be aware of the fact they're allergic to A, B, and C and adjust accordingly. So, if oak moss, for example, was to make a person allergic or give them an allergic reaction, I think that it's up to that person to be responsible enough not to wear oak moss or not to get near oak moss. So if we're banning fragrances or banning notes based on an allergy, I am not for it. I think that's the wrong way to go, and I don't support it. On the flip side, I will say that I think that all fragrance companies should list what notes and what ingredients that they put in their fragrances for that purpose. I mean, if somebody's going to be allergic to something, then we can't have this fragrance thing going around where fragrance companies, put their mysterious notes. We've got woodsy notes or whatever, or we've got, citrus notes, stuff like just generic stuff. I am fully for fragrance companies fully disclosing what is actually in their fragrance. To me, that's not a problem. The bigger problem is the problem to me is that lack of information. I think fragrance companies should provide that information so that we can make an informed decision of what we put on our bodies, what we take, and what we otherwise use. So from that aspect, I am more towards the regulation of fragrances, if you will, but not for the purpose of sparing anyone allergic reaction. That's on you, basically. And that's what my thought is overall of it. Now, I would like, I guess you could say, I would like a more in-depth explanation of what specifically, or what was the reason for the banning of particular fragrances or particular notes. I think a lack of communication, not really good, because it sort of seems at this point like it's arbitrary that they're banning particular notes, particular fragrances, and forcing companies to reformulate and forcing companies to either dilute or water their things down. All right, so overall, that kind of is my thoughts on the whole thing. Just kind of scrolling through some of the comments here on the video that I went through. Sorry about that. I had one picked out for a second, and most of them have to do with allergic reaction. But yeah, overall, that is pretty much my thoughts on the matter. So if you have any questions whatsoever, please feel free, leave a message, send me a note, do whatever you gotta do. Thank you, take care of yourselves, and you have a great day.